Good morning. I'm Lisa Marzilli with the WMNF News headlines. Former President Trump's criminal trial for keeping government secrets at his Florida estate now has a starting date, August 14th. This week on WMNF's Tuesday Cafe, Stetson University College of Law professor Louis Varelli said that an early trial has its advantages, but that it might be delayed.
If, in fact, there is a trial set for August, that's very aggressive. And that would indicate that Judge Cannon wants this proceeding to be as far from the election as possible in time, which, my opinion, should not necessarily matter to her. But from my perspective, I think that's a good idea because I don't think this trial has anything to do with the forthcoming election, as I just indicated, or at least it doesn't have to, and it shouldn't. If President Trump is acquitted, then he should be able to run for office unencumbered by these charges. But the only way to do that is to resolve them in a trial. I am surprised that the defense would agree to that trial date. They don't necessarily have to agree to it, but I would imagine that Judge Cannon got their input. And we'll see if maybe there are motions for continuance. There are things the defense can do to push that date out. But an aggressive trial date, I think, is useful to separate this case from the pending election, which I think is overall a good idea.
That's Stetson University College of Law professor Louis Varelli speaking this week on Tuesday Cafe. You can watch this full interview on our website, WMNF.org. New reporting from investigative news outlet ProPublica has Senators Dick Durbin and Sheldon Whitehouse threatening to step up legislation on Supreme Court ethics reform. ProPublica documents how Samuel Alito failed to declare gifts received from conservative billionaire Paul Singer and did not recuse himself when Singer had cases presented before the court. The news outlet had already detailed the close relationship between Justice Clarence Thomas and billionaire Harlan Crow. This is Josh Kaplan, one of the reporters who broke the story, speaking last night on the PBS NewsHour.
Alito didn't recuse himself in any of the more than at least 10 cases that Paul Singer had after the trip. And experts said that they'd never heard of another example of a Supreme Court justice sitting on a case after receiving an expensive gift from one of the parties.
The gifts included a round-trip flight on a private jet to Alaska for a luxury fishing trip hosted by another right-wing businessman. Alito described the fishing lodge in Alaska as comfortable but rustic, serving home-style fare. However, ProPublica reports chefs served multi-course meals of Alaskan king crab legs and Kobe filet. And on the last night, a member of Alito's group bragged that they were drinking wine that cost $1,000 a bottle, according to a fishing guide. Senator Whitehouse said the highest court in the land should not have the lowest ethical standards, vowing that when the Senate returns after the July 4th recess, the Judiciary Committee will proceed with Supreme Court ethics legislation. Hillsborough County Schools took a bold stance in declaring 2 proclamations promoting diversity yesterday. WMNF's Chris Young reports it comes on the heels of new Florida laws clamping down on diversity and inclusion.
School board member Jessica Vaughn read the Pride Month proclamation.
The lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer communities contribute to the educational, cultural, civic, and economic successes of Hillsborough County.
Henry Washington, vice chair of the school board, read for the Juneteenth proclamation.
For more than 150 years, Black Americans have celebrated freedom and resilience and the history of African American journey on Juneteenth. The significance of Juneteenth is one of the most important reminders of fundamental meaning of freedom in our country.
Public comment remained mixed. Carmen Edmonds spoke out against the LGBTQ proclamation.
We as a school district have more important things to focus on.
While others, like Vanessa, argued for it.
We can't let history repeat itself. Kids of all diverse backgrounds, abilities, or disabilities deserve the right to equal access and representation.
Proclamations like these have drawn both support and opposition elsewhere in Florida. For example, in nearby Polk County, commissioners refused to declare a Pride Month proclamation. The Juneteenth proclamation passed through the Hillsborough School Board unanimously, and the Pride Month proclamation passed with 5 yes votes. Members Stacey Hahn voted no, and Patty Rendon abstained. At Tuesday's meeting, they also selected a new interim superintendent, Van Ayers. I'm Chris Young in Tampa.
WMNF's Talia Van Sistine reports 3 Florida cities are among the most expensive cities to rent in.
For an average renter in Tampa, about 24% of their income goes toward rent. A new analysis finds Tampa residents are typically spending over $1,200 a month on rent, which is a 40% increase from 2009 when renters paid $876 a month on average. Jamie Seal, who is a reports writer for Clever Real Estate, says inflation and population growth are some of the factors that have contributed to this spike for Tampa and other cities observed in the study. An analysis by the U.S. Census Bureau this year found Hillsborough County has gained close to 29,000 residents between 2020 and 2022, making it one of the fastest-growing counties in the country. The study by Clever Real Estate says a healthy rent-to-income ratio is 30% or less. Even though Tampa falls under that threshold now, Seal says it may not stay that way.
Unfortunately, the rent-to-income ratio is increasing in like 46 of the 50 most populous metros.
3 Florida cities made the list of the 10 most expensive U.S. cities to live in. Miami ranks at number 1, Orlando at number 3, and Tampa at number 6. For WMNF News, I'm Talia Van Sistine.
It's going to be mostly cloudy and breezy today with a high of 90 and a 70% chance of rain. Same forecast for Friday, but with a 60% chance of rain.